What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to this special demo on a very special topic of creating views in SQL databases. I'm going to cover both the explanation and a couple of practice demos in PostgreSQL PJ Admin 4. So, without any further ado, let's get started. I'm going to start by explaining that you may often find yourself as a data scientist performing the same, let's say, queries or a query or a combination of queries over and over when you're on a daily basis when you're performing your tasks, right? So instead of copying and pasting or writing the queries over and over as something that you do on a regular basis, what you can do is you can create a view, right? Uh, what the views will do for you is it assigns a quick way for you to store, right? Store, that query or combination of multiple queries and multiple functions that you do on a daily basis into more a database object, right? Or that resembles a table, like a physical table, but it's not a physical table. So the view, as a result, gives you a database object that's pretty much nothing but stored queries. It can be accessed just as a non-physical or virtual table, nothing else, not a physical table where the data there, and instead it's just a table that stores the queries. So again, the view does not store data physically. It simply stores the query. So at least you can get the physical data by calling in that the queries from that view, if it makes sense. So let me go ahead and perform an example here, and then also show you how I create a view based on that query, then how I can treat that view each time that I want to calling it in to show me to show it as a table. Before anything else, as you can see, this is my database, which is the art of numbers or art of number. I think I named it right, art of number bones. And then the schema name is public, right? And under the public schema, you will see the tables, right? Which I've created a bunch of tables so far for my demos. But for the views, when you click on the views, as you can see, there's nothing. The views folder is directory is blank. That means we do not have, I have not created any view thus far in in the course, in the courses of my videos. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to now create a view and then I'll also show you how use it. So to create a view, pretty much for the practice, I'm going to use two tables. I'm going to use the world master list, which is the list of all the countries with the region attribute and X metrics and life expectancy, life average, and ID. Right, so ID, as you can see, it says PK, it's a primary key, right? And I'm going to the second table I'm going to use is going to be the economic indicator. So as you can see, I also have an ID as a foreign key. As you can see, what I'm going to do is I'm going to perform a join query to join these two tables together by the relationship of the primary key and foreign key, and then I'm going to create a view to store this join query into it, and then show you how you can call in this view each time you want to see this non-physical table that we extract from the screen. So without any further ado, let's get to it. I'm going to, as I said, there are two tables. I'm going to select a bunch of columns from the master list. Let me open the master list really quickly. Yep, the master list is here. So I'm going to get ID. I'm going to get the live average. Not live average. I'm going to get the country, and uh, and then from the second table, the child table, from the work indicator, economic indicator table, I'm going to get maybe all of them, right? So I'm going to get year, I'm going to get GPA, I'm going to get the balance of trade, and I'm going to get CPI, and I'm going to get ID. And then I'm going to say from, uh, I'm going to say from, I'm going to specify the name of the parent table, which is the world master list. Now, it's very important for you that when you have two column names or field names that are identical between both of the tables that you're merging, that you have to specify the prefix of your table here, so that the statement does not run into error, right? And I'll show you what I mean by that. I'll run it without specifying the ID name, and without specifying the prefix of ID by their associated table name, and I'm going to run it again by fixing it by inserting the table prefix. So, and then I'm going to say inner join, right? I'm going to perform an inner join, and then I'm going to say the second table, which is the economic indicator. And then I'm going to say on world master list, which I have the primary key, which is ID, right? And then I'm going to say equal to, and then I also have an ID in economic indicator, which is here. And I'm going to say the same thing, just copying it just to make it easy, and say ID, right? And now our join query is now prepared. The only difference is that we did not specify the prefix of these two fields, right? We did not specify the prefixes, and you're going to see when I run this, it's going to run into error and say, look, you need to see, it says column reference ID is ambiguous, meaning we have ID in both of the world master list and the economic indicator, so it has to be taken out of this ambiguous state and be specified from what table should they be taken from, right? So what's going to happen is even if you use one of them, you still need to specify them because these are you're calling in these columns, right, from the join, from the result of the join. So if even if you're going to use one of the columns, you still need to specify it by writing the prefix of the table name before running your query. So the first will be from the world master list, and the next one will be from the world map, the world, sorry, econ indicator dot id. So I just specified both of them here, right? Here and here by their table name prefixes. Now, when we run this, you're going to see that we got the results back. As you know, the master list, there's a constraint on the primary key, right? On the ID, which is the primary key that we can only have unique values. So each country has their unique values, ID, on the ID column. And then on the economic indicator, the ID, because each country has multiple year data, so the ID is actually the foreign key, and as a foreign key, you can have multiple uh, uh, values, duplicate values, because you could be having multiple records for relate to one ID. So that's how we connected. That's how we establish our relationship, performing inner join. That means if any data that does not meet the IDs between the ID column for this ID and this ID for the relationship, then they shouldn't be included. So when you run this, you're going to see that we're only going to get a few of these countries, right? All the way, only two, three, four countries, right? Although on the master list, you can see we have more than four countries. We almost have nine countries. Yeah, we actually literally have nine countries. So those other five countries will drop because it's an inner join. That means any country that does not meet the relationship specification will drop. It's an inner join type. For the join type and join operations, please refer to my video on SQL join concepts. Now that we perform our query, now here comes the use of a view. Now you don't want to be carrying this with you as a script, copying and pasting or rewriting it, each time you want to do this, right? Because you're creating a non-physical table, right, between these two, this table and this table, right? They're two different tables, and you're creating a query between them. And each time that you want to do, each time that you create that you perform this query, you're creating a non-physical table, right? And maybe you can extract it out. But instead, you could, if this is something that you do on a regular basis, right? As more data are updated in both of these tables, economic indicator and work master list, and let's say if you run this a merge or join query on a daily basis, right? Then maybe this is something that you need to create a view for. And what the view is going to do is you don't have to call in this entire query. All you have to do is just say select everything and just call in the name of the view, just like you call in the name of the table, and it's going to give you all the results that this query would give you. So how do you do this? It's very simple. Just like when you create a table, select you say create, you say view, and then say uh, name of your view. So for example, this one will be view for uh, master list, and that's a long list. Okay, so just say view view for econ. There you go, and then say as. Simple as that. When you run this, you're going to see a new view will be created. There you go. Okay, it says it's been specified more than once. Column ID specified more than once. Okay, here's another problem. And because you're creating a view, right? You're creating a view, right? And you're giving this view an identity. You're creating a view, right? Like when you don't create a view, when you run this query, you're gonna have two IDs that are duplicates because this is actually not a physical table. This is just a result of a query. When you create a view, although it's not going to be a physical table, but it's going to be kind of a permanent view of something. This is why you may need to change one of these ID names to something different so that you can have unique column names. So let's say the second one will be econ ID, right? So again, when you run this, without adding the unique column ID, it's going to tell you that the column ID specified more than once. That means there's a duplicate ID. You know, we have ID here and we have ID here, and we did not create an alias for it. So I'm going to go ahead and create an alias for one of them and say this one is going to be uh, econ indicator ID. There you go. So once I create an alias for the second ID to take it out of this unique duplicateness, I'm going to run it. And there you go. It's now successfully created. Now here's the important thing. When you click on view, it's not there yet because I need to refresh it. When you click on view, you can see that now we have a view, right? View for econ. We did not have nothing before. Just like we have tables under the table, now we have a view under the view directory. Now, each time that you want to, let's say, let's just close this, right? Maybe just get a new query tool, right? Like for example, you don't have to now go and look for that script to get a merge join based query between those two tables. And instead, you can just say select from, and then just pass the name of the view, just like you would pass the name of the table, and you're going to get the results. Now, as these source tables, these physical source tables get updated, the view becomes updated too. So each time that you run a view, that you query everything from the view or anything from the view, all those updates will be included in your view. That's simple as that. Now, what if you want to perform, uh, let's say you want to edit your view, right? Like this is your view and you want to edit, and you already see that you have these information here. It's if you it's under the public schema, but you cannot change much here in the properties, right? Now, if you want to change it, you can simply use something called create or replace view, and then same thing. Change it and write the name of the view that you want to change, and then say econ as, and let's say we want to keep everything. Now remember, you're creating or replacing a view. So that means if there's a view That there's no view by this name, then create none. If there's a view already in this name, then just replace it with whatever I'm about to give you. Now, here's the caveat. When you perform this, and if you're making any changes, such as renaming it or renaming like this, the column name, or if you're doing any type, let's say dropping a column, that kind of stuff, it's not gonna do it for you. It's gonna tell you like, if you want to drop a column, why don't you use the same procedures you would do for a table? Because I'm actually, although I'm not a table with physical existence, but I want to be treated like a table. You're gonna see it. It's gonna tell you. Like, let's say I want to get rid of this last column, right? And you're gonna see. It's gonna see that it's gonna tell you to treat it like a table and use alter. See, it says cannot drop column from view. So if you want to do it, then you have to go and use alter statement. So let me take this back. But if you want to add, so let's say if you want to add something, right? Or even let's say if you want to rename something, let's say as let's say indicator ID. Let's just change this to indicator ID 2. This is just a very slight change in the name. You're gonna see it says where did I create the as okay, 2 from word master list. Yep, yep. Um, Word for econ from word master list into error or near from. Okay, let's go back here. What did I make a mistake with? Text near from word master list. For econ. What happened here? Let's check. Oh, here, the comma. I always make a mistake with commas. We don't need a comma. So let's say if you change this to let's say ID 2, right? This is a simple renaming. Now it's gonna react and say, look, cannot change name of view column econ indicator ID to econ indicator ID 2. Why? Use alter view. And then alter view and just like alter view and then rename me just the same way that you would rename a table. So that's what it's telling us. Like don't treat me as different from any table. But let's say if we want to add a next column, let's say from the master list, I think we only chose one or two. Let's say we want to add the region there, right? Let's say region. This is gonna replace now. This is gonna update it for us. There you go. And if you were to look at it again, uh, select everything from view for econ, right? You're gonna see that the new added column is there now. Region right here, right here. It's just now added. So again, views are such an important feature SQL uh, in SQL functionalities that you need to be aware of and use it. And when you work with databases, you will probably end up creating several views just to just to automate the performance of something that you do on a regular basis. Although you're not creating a physical table, but you're creating more like a virtual table that you can call in the queries, the stored queries using that virtual table to view the physical table. This is it for this topic for today for creating views. Uh, Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe my channel. As always, thank you so much. I will see you guys in the next tutorial.